Sonmez here from BulldogMindset.com. And in this video, I have a special guest, and we are going to be talking about today, if you want to start your YouTube side business, your side hustle, the 5 things that you need to know, the 5 mistakes that a lot of people make when they're starting out. And these are the 5 things that you need to know. So I actually have here someone who knows YouTube pretty much better than anyone, I would say. His name is Sean Cannell. He's a friend of mine. We actually met at a Thrive conference, and we had a lot of things in common. And coincidence brought us together again on a plane ride. As I was flying to Vegas, we sat next to each other and discussed a lot of things, real estate, all kinds of fun stuff. So anyway, welcome, Sean.
John, so pumped to be with you and your community. Absolutely love what you're doing. Always inspired by your projects, your life. And so thanks for having me.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I just, just a couple of months ago, I think I did a review on the channel about your book, the YouTube Secrets. And I thought that was just great. That's, by the way, guys, if you haven't picked up that book, definitely check it out. It's like, if you're looking to start a YouTube channel, this is like, when I was reading that book, I was like, damn, this is exactly what I wish I would have known when I started out.
I love it. I appreciate that.
So let's jump into it here and start talking about these things. I think maybe before we jump into the 5 things, maybe tell everyone a little bit about yourself so they know, why they should trust you as far as YouTube.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So my name is Sean Cannell, and I've been doing video now for almost over 15 years. I got started in 2003, volunteering at my local church, and I just got my hands on cameras. And I'll say this: your first videos are your worst videos. So I know a lot of people listening as an entrepreneur, you recognize the power of online video, but you kind of have to get through the season of suck first and just start putting out some content. I like to say, even though I walk through the season of suck, I will fear no evil. You just got to do it. And so that's when I started back in 2003. I did videos for years, and then eventually launched my business called Clear Vision Media. And I started doing like video production work, weddings, small businesses. And the whole time I was studying YouTube and working with some authors and speakers that were kind of selling books and building their personal brands, getting a lot of experience. And then fast forward to today, originally, I guess I built a 6-figure income by basically doing product reviews. Because my background is video, I started helping people find cameras, lighting, how to use their cameras, how to edit videos, all the information about producing video since I had started years ahead. That was around 2011 that I started ramping that up. And eventually my main channel, Think Media, was generating 6 figures of income just from the Amazon Associates program. Oh, wow. From talking about cameras and other things, a little bit of YouTube AdSense on top of that. And then since that time, we've now built our business. We're hiring a team. We have digital products. We do live events. I speak, consult. We are traditional YouTubers. We work with brands like Canon and Amazon and vidIQ and a lot of different mainstream brands and do multiple streams of income and have now built a multiple 7-figure business. And YouTube has been the major generator for that. I believe that there's so many relevant social media platforms, but that YouTube is an indispensable platform for every entrepreneur, every serious content creator. In fact, I believe it's irresponsible not to be leveraging the tool called YouTube that you can leverage for free, as well as even with paid ads to help scale faster.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's interesting too, and I agree with you, especially that when you start out, you're gonna suck at man. When I look back at my first videos, I'm like, wow, this is a totally different person, and it just the comfort level that you have on camera just drastically changes over time once you start to get used to it. But
100%.
So let's dig into it. And by the way, guys, if before we do check out Sean's channels. He's got, Think Media is really good one and that's where you're doing mostly the reviews, right? And the
tech tools, smartphone accessories, get a cheap lighting kit so your videos look a little better. But yeah, I mean, we could dive into it. I've got the 5 things. The first one is start with the end in mind. Okay. And I mean, that's pretty traditional tip, 7 habits of highly effective people, Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. But it absolutely, I think, is essential when it comes to YouTube is what is it you want to happen? And a few things I would say under that is, yeah, what are you hoping to achieve? Are you trying to drive sales for a SaaS business? You know, are you building a personal brand? You want to drive book sales and sell information? You really want to know exactly what it is that you're doing. And you also want to count the cost. I'd say it's an old, kind of like biblical reference, count the cost of building the tower, because if you were to get halfway done building a house, I mean, you're not going to go out and say the house is going to cost 500 grand to build. Shoot, we ran out of money at 350. Now there's no roof.
Right.
Like you want to look ahead to say, this is going to take work. Like this is going to take energy. What would winning look like? Getting clear to say, I want to generate new customers and leads. I want to be an entertainer. I hope to as a comedian, I hope to book more gigs. And really knowing what it is you hope to achieve, I think that's the beginning. And the other thing would, especially from a business perspective, is how are you going to make money? I think that's a really good question. And to think through, YouTube ads is one thing that YouTube offers is one of the only platforms on the internet that you can just make money for views, but that's a horrible way to make money as an entrepreneur because it's not very much. YouTube's taking a bunch of it. It's up and down. So you really want to identify, I mentioned I hit 6 figures with affiliate marketing. If you're in a niche where I gave an example once, if this is a side hustle, I think there's a big opportunity for reviewing luxury watches. If you do affiliate marketing and you were talking about a Breitling versus a Speedmaster or something else or whatever, I think that's maybe the same thing. And you put it on Omega Speedmaster. If you type that into YouTube, you could see that a lot of people or a couple hundred people a month are searching for these watch reviews. A couple $1,000 watch on Amazon. If someone purchased that at 4%, you'd make like $250. And so that it's like, okay, I'm gonna have a specific channel. I'm going to talk about certain kinds of products. I'm going to do affiliate marketing. I'm going to use my channel. I'm not even going to turn ads on. I'm going to add goodwill, help people know, like, and trust me by putting out free content. And then I'm going to lead them to some kind of an information product or whatever it is. So number one, though, is really take some time to plan on paper and start with the end in mind.
Okay. Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, I should do YouTube videos. That's what I hear a lot of times when I'm coaching people. And I'm like, well, why should you do them? Because like, if you don't have some kind of plan, then and I think a lot of times too, the people that say, well, I should do YouTube videos or I should be on YouTube, they're not consistent or they're not committed because they don't have any kind of goal. They don't know why they're doing it.
100%, which actually brings us to number 2, which is then once you kind of know where you want to end up, you want to get clear on 2 things. And that is number 1, who's your target audience? And number 2, what is your value proposition? So you need to, this is essentially like your elevator pitch, which is one of the best things that any entrepreneur could have. We met at Thrive Conference. And, it's that thing when someone comes up to you and asks you, what do you do? And you're like, I don't know. I don't know if I can articulate it, but the clearer, the punchier, and that's just a tagline or like an elevator pitch, but writing that, knowing that is huge. And I'll even, maybe tell a story that in social media, I remember a few years ago, I was working at a church. And so I think about my social media bio, and everybody think about your social media bio right now. In my social media bio, it said I was a pastor, YouTuber, husband, dog lover, runner. And it was like this list. But what I realized was like, if you read that on social, and if people listening, I'm assuming you want to get subscribers, you want to get followers, you want to grow your business, you want to drive revenue. It seemed like I was just kind of scattered. You want to be known for one thing. You want to know who you reach, how you serve them, how you serve people. And so eventually when I reached clarity, which is kind of what we're talking about, get clear on who you are, who's your target audience, what's your value proposition to them. And when I realized, wait a minute, video has been the theme of my life because it wasn't always clear to me. I was like, man, I've been doing videos since 2003. We've maybe heard of the 10,000 hour rule popularized by Malcolm Gladwell. I've probably put 40,000 hours into video now, whether that's being in front of the camera, behind the camera, editing, doing ads, writing scripts, all the things that go into it, studying, interviewing, whatever. And so I've put all of this time, but eventually when I realized, wait a minute, okay, the way I help people is I help people build their influence with online video. And that's my tagline. So if you land on my website, I help people build their influence. And actually I'll take online off because it doesn't matter if it's online. I help people build their influence with online video. I can expand it. I help people build their influence, impact, and income with online video and social media. But I'm really clear on who I am and how I serve people. And when I changed my social media and it was no longer, you see people like wine lover, entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, speaker, best-selling author. You're like, okay, whatever. But when I changed it to one, not about me, but about who I was serving. And two, when I got clear on that and I became about one thing, my whole world changed. It's one thing started to blow up because I started to make sense in the world. So I would challenge people, if you don't know where you're going, how can anybody follow you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't know where you're going, how will you actually even know when you get there?
Right.
So point number one and point number two, you start with the end in mind, and then you get clear. Who are you? Who's your target audience? Then I began to learn, okay, well, our channels, they're not for people who want to learn how to launch a podcast. Makes sense. They're not for people who want to learn how to garden. They're not for people who want to learn how to get shredded and like John and like be actually, it's just to learn this thing video.
Right.
And so then things began to grow. And so I knew our target audience were people that wanted to learn video, entrepreneurs and business-minded content creators. And if someone wanted to even take notes, you can make your plan right now. Make a simple napkin plan for your YouTube channel and write down, okay, I'm going to be serving this type of people. We serve business-minded content creators and entrepreneurs that want to learn video. And then our value proposition is simply this: when and where are you going to deliver that value? So we say we post weekly tips videos. This is on our channel, Video Influencers, and weekly interviews that will help you build your influence, income, and impact with online video. I don't want to say that it's easy to come to all these conclusions. It might take some wrestling, some feedback, some testing, some experimenting, but man, clarity is power. And so getting clear from the very beginning is huge because I'm not going to go to the McCarran Airport here in Las Vegas. And I just walk up to the counter and they go, all right, hey, welcome. How can we help you? And I say, you tell me. I mean, I'm just looking to, they're like, well, where do you want to go? I don't know what's available. I mean, that people don't do that. You come, you say, I want to fly from Las Vegas to Florida. When do you want, when you want to leave? And now as an entrepreneur, you might actually, the flight will get delayed. It probably will. Right. It might need to actually get grounded halfway in Texas because they need to change. You're going to get punched in the face. You're going to have mistakes happen along the way. But when you know where you're going, who you're serving, and those are some of the biggest mistakes I see. People, they have unclear messaging. If you confuse, you lose.
Yeah.
You want to have clear branding, clear messaging. And that starts with our first two tips. Start with the end in mind and get clear on your target audience and your value proposition.
Okay. Yeah. That's something I've struggled with for sure. Like over the years, just in business, and I'm finally like starting to, with Bulldog Mindset, kind of bring that together, because it's like I do fitness stuff, I do finance stuff like wealth building, and then I do like dating and coaching and social skills type of stuff, and it's all kind of tied into the mindset. And I was trying to like tie, and then I finally realized that, like, who am I serving? It's like I'm teaching guys to become men. I'm teaching them to become the men that they're capable of being. And that's the thing that I'm still not 100% there, but it's like I'm trying to tie it all together so that it makes sense, because it was just so hard, like when I was trying to do all those different things. But it's a really hard thing to narrow it down and to like have a very clear message of what exactly what is your value proposition, what are you offering, who's your audience.
I totally agree. And I would say that, from knowing you now for years, since a few years ago when we met, and you didn't have Bulldog Mindset yet, now I think your branding has become incredibly clear. I think it's very strong. It's very clear. And I love it. So some people might say, well, because I really do think you need to be known for one thing. Yeah. But you mentioned there's other things. Well, it still is all one thing, because it's teaching men to become men and to like level up and be world-class. And Bulldog Mindset is the one thing. And I think you've nailed it. I mean, and of course you can keep tweaking it and perfecting it. But what I love about that is it kind of brings us to tip number 3, which is then you just got to start posting videos. And now I might contradict myself a little. If you don't really know the end yet, if you're not really clear on your target audience, a mistake I see people make though is they still wait. Yeah. I actually think that it's by taking massive imperfect action where we learn, where we experiment. So hopefully you can be clear on those first 2 things. But you, just like me too, we've both been in evolution. Our brands have evolved. I have a few YouTube channels that did not succeed, but if it wasn't for those, then I wouldn't have the ones that succeeded today. So taking massive action is huge, even if you don't have crystal clear clarity yet, because you can learn as you go and you can tweak things. But number 3 is post videos. And this might seem dead. It's just might even sound stupid, but I've learned this, that to succeed on YouTube, you have to post videos on YouTube.
Are you serious?
I know, right?
Like think about like I can't just ponder it all day and ask questions in the forums.
Exactly. Like, but ironically, like it's kind of what we can do. So I kind of want to call people out to say at some point, get like as clear as possible, get a target, get kind of a North Star. Like if I just, a good way to look at it would be this. I know I want to fly from Las Vegas to the East Coast of the United States.
Okay.
That's actually not that specific, but at least I have a direction. And then once maybe I land in New York, I realize I want to be in Florida, and now I got to take a road trip, but at least I'm on the East Coast now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you kind of know your direction, then you just want to take massive action. And there's a million things we talk about in YouTube secrets that you can learn along the way. But it is funny. Like you really just want to be posting videos. And here's why. When you're posting consistent videos, that's how you build momentum.
Yeah.
That's how you level yourself up. It's a personal development tool.
For sure.
Video has changed my life as a communicator, as a human, as someone who understands timing and nuance, just because of sheer repetition. For putting out a lot of crappy videos, watching them, I've listened to my own over and over, and then I've been like, wow, I should say less of those.
Right.
So just post videos, start before you're ready, and I would say too, start before you have all the right equipment. All you need is your smartphone to start getting some videos out. And you know that, right? Because you've done a ton of videos that have been done just, on all kinds of different cameras.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And I think that it also just takes a lot of time to find your voice, right? It's like, you don't know what you're going to put out there necessarily. I mean, it's good to have the beginning with the end in mind, like you said, and it's good to know who your audience is, but sometimes it's a discovery process. Like, or you start down one path, like you have an idea, and then you end up going down a different path. But yeah, that's a pretty good one. You've got to post videos.
You've got to post videos on YouTube. Number 4, and this is one of the biggest mistakes people could take, is you want to research before you press record.
Okay.
And so again, we're kind of talking to 2 paths. The one path is the person who has absolutely no clue what they're doing. That person should just take massive action, keep studying, and then you'll get clarity as you just are moving. However, there's a whole other path where you've already got an established business. You maybe already have a business model or sales process. So YouTube already makes logical sense. Your question is just, how do I do this effectively to send more leads or more sales or whatever it is I want to do over here? And the mistake people make is they press record. So they think, okay, here's what I think people might want to hear. Here's what I think I want to talk about today. They hit record on the video, shoot it, throw it on YouTube, and then they go, man, what should I title it? I'm not even sure. And they just make up a title and then they make it public. What I've learned is that you want to flip that whole process. You want to research before you press record. And this gets into the fact that YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world.
Right.
And people are looking for answers to questions, and for especially kind of in the how-to, self-help, personal development, business development space, and in a lot of other industries, YouTube is this great resource where people are wondering how, like having questions about dating, questions about fitness, finances, real estate, YouTube itself, social media, taxes, food, meal prepping, keto, makeup, Forex trading, a million things.
Yeah.
But when you research, what people could do is they can go to the YouTube search bar, start typing in a phrase, how to lose, for example. And what happens is YouTube finishes your sentence for you, right? It'll say how to lose weight. But then what it'll tell you is there'll be about 13, predictions there, and there'll be how to lose weight fast. But then there'll be one, how to lose belly fat it'll be predicted, it'll be completely different. How to lose weight for teenagers without dieting, how to lose, and all these different things. So it tells us that we now can get clarity on what people are actually searching around the world. And then we know the specific nuance video to make. And that nuance is important. And we're going to use some technical terms here, but those phrases that are coming up are called keywords and keyword phrases. They're search phrases. And when you're starting out, long tail is better. So the more specific you could be, the better. And, you know, I don't want to mess with you too much here, but I actually am going to try to share my screen because I think this will really help people see this. And so if we go, you know, how to lose weight is, and I've got a tool, we could write this down, keywordseverywhere.com. And that's actually going to show you this search volume. So how to lose weight fast, 450 searches a month. So you go, okay, there's a lot of interest, highly competitive industry for sure. But then you also have how to lose weight in a week. That's different than just how to lose belly fat. And then what you could do though, is if you go to how to lose belly fat, you do another space, then you have overnight exercises. If we do another space, you could go at home or for men. This is the sweet spot for everybody that's listening, because now when you start your video, imagine your first sentence being like, hey dude, or like, hey men, are you ready to just trim that belly fat down and get that six pack going? You're talking to the exact right person. And that's your goal here with these YouTube videos. You want to be talking to the right person at the right time when they have a specific pain point, because they're searching, they're saying, man, how do I, and then the reverse is true. We could go back. How do I lose belly fat? Well, I don't want to exercise probably, right? That's most people don't. So how to lose belly fat without exercise? Right. Well, that's an entirely different video. So where people make the mistake is they don't research before they press record. When you do, now you actually pretty much already know your video title. You know the angle, the felt need, the psychology of the person searching. And now you can actually craft your content to serve a very specific thing. And man, you'll win when you really master that on YouTube.
That makes a lot of sense. I need to do more of that for sure. It's always tempting to just hit record and then just, you know, start making the video, or even I have an idea for the video and I already have the title. Sometimes I'll go to, but yeah, it makes a lot of sense to look in the search bar. Yeah. That makes sense.
And I would encourage you, you have the option, because you can just make a video and shoot it, and you're talking to your people, you're talking to your community. And honestly, in that case, they're there for you and they know that you're going to share value. So if you have a compelling title, it might not be based on this, and a thumbnail and some good content. So this is not the only way to put out content. But here's the thing. Most people don't have the subscriber base, the influence you have. They're at scratch, wondering how to get discovered. This is that opportunity. Is saying, like, no one knows you yet. So what you're doing is you're getting a chance for strangers to type in a search term, find a very specific video. And that's how I built my brand. People didn't obviously know me yet, but I started making these videos, whether it was best camera for YouTube. They didn't know Sean, but they knew they needed a camera. So they're searching for a specific camera. And the more specific, really the better, especially when you're starting, because it's going to be easier to rank. So when you just solve a simple problem, like, again, you might, where you shouldn't do if you're just starting is like how to crush it in real estate. It's too competitive and too vague. What you actually might do is like how to, the proper way to fill out a specific form in 2019 when it comes to like getting a loan. You know what I mean? It can be very nuanced, but people need that exact pain point, and they don't know you yet. They know their pain point. They search for that, and then they find you, and you're saying, hey, you know, if you're getting value out of this, I actually post weekly videos. Not every single video that you put out is going to be lead generation, new audience. Now you have subscribers, and guess what? You can talk to them about anything. Now you can just say, hey guys, something on my heart I want to share with you. But most people's problems is there's no one there listening to what's on their heart yet. And the way you're going to find those people is through researching before you press record, knowing who you're going for, knowing your value proposition, being able to articulate that so that you meet people. And let me give you another example. The strategy videos, personal development videos in my niche actually do the worst. And what does the best is like how to edit a video on your iPhone.
Right.
It's a very practical pain point. So what I mean is, like, an entrepreneur that might want to teach personal development, they maybe should help people fix that broken WordPress plugin on their website, and then saying, hey, by the way, this was just something I struggled with. Normally on this channel, what I do is this. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're actually, you meet someone practically, like ridiculously practically, like how to, could just be very specific about something that meets someone right at that point of need, but then they meet you. And then it could be a part of your tribe, your business, and everything else.
That's funny. My most popular video on my channel is how to fix the iPhone sound problem.
It's a good example. And a lot of those people aren't going to subscribe. But what happens if you do a video like that is you might get hundreds of thousands or even millions of views on some of these practical videos. If you then articulate your values, just really quickly, you say, and hey, by the way, I know this video is just kind of about this one problem, but if you're interested in weekly training, you know what I mean? Then a percentage of those people go, oh man, I was just looking for this, but John's rad. And I would love to subscribe for more of a different type of content. And then you have essentially, we're talking about turning, in marketing terms, cold traffic into warm traffic and people getting to know you. You're meeting total strangers. That's what everybody wants. How do I get a following when no one knows me? This is one of the best ways.
I love it. This is a great tip. This is, I get what you're saying now, like, because the smaller YouTuber needs to go over these long tail keywords, because otherwise they're not going to get any kind of exposure. And that if you're putting exactly what people are searching for, this is my favorite tip so far. I feel like this is going to be super valuable for people to grow their audience. This is what I'm going to start telling people when they ask me now.
I love it.
Yeah.
And, and then that brings me, to probably the final tip is then consistency. And here's what I want to challenge people with. This goes back to start with the end in mind. 1 video a week. I mean, if you're going to do this, don't dabble, dominate, like get serious. And 1 a week is a minimum of, I believe, relevancy. And here's what I would do. Like if I was an entrepreneur starting from scratch, I would think about starting a weekly show and think, I'm going to have a weekly show. And every Tuesday, and your show might be just you 5 minutes recorded on your phone. Like that's fine, but think of it in terms of a show. And then you think about it is that show has a particular promise. Like every Tuesday, my favorite example of this is Talk Triggers by Jay Baer. Jay Baer is kind of in the B2B social media side of things, a best-selling author, multiple books. And he launched his book Talk Triggers and wanted to perpetuate the message and keep selling more books and keep landing more consulting gigs by starting a show to keep the message going. So the book's called Talk Triggers. He started the Talk Triggers show. The cool thing about it is he got a very clear format for it. He said in 7 minutes or less, I'm going to share one case study a week about businesses that are living Talk Triggers. Talk Triggers is word of mouth marketing. So like DoubleTree gives out cookies at their hotel and people lose their mind and share it on social media, and it's massive free PR for them. So that's one example. So once a week, so it's real easy for him to sustain because he's got the same set, the same format, a set time limit. People don't have to necessarily do it that way, but this is what his show is all about. And then he shoots it, and then it actually kicks to his team. And in his case, he's platform agnostic. That show is his podcast. It lives on YouTube with a specific YouTube outro. It's uploaded to LinkedIn with a LinkedIn outro. It's chopped into micro, but he has this weekly show. And that one piece of content a week that he's committed to is his 7-minute Talk Triggers show. I believe that everyone listening should minimum, and honestly, even before trying to do more videos, I'd perfect that process, because what you would do is imagine you start your show and you say every week, I got my Tuesday show. It comes out on YouTube. Over time, you're going to start building an email list. Now, once a week, you get to email everybody on Tuesday. Hey, this week's show's out. This week, I covered this, this, and this. Maybe a little summary in the email. If you want to go watch the full thing, they can click through. That gives you something to share on social media the day that it comes out. It gives you something to reshare on social media later. Hey, if you missed this week's episode. And then your goal would be over time to continue to scale that up and build momentum around that show. The biggest mistake I see people make is they do maybe a few posts, or a few videos, but then they stop, they drop off. Consistency builds trust. Consistency builds momentum. Consistency builds your confidence for being able to be consistent and actually follow through. Consistency triggers the YouTube algorithm. And if you slow and steady wins, I really believe that. If you could post more than that, great. But if you could stick with that once a week show, that would, and then commit to the long haul, treat YouTube like a small business. Probably the final tip, but we could follow up with the other questions, but is inconsistency. Most of us know that if you launch a small business, it's common knowledge, it's probably not going to be profitable for as much as 2 to 3 years.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And we would know that we're going to commit to that, to put our blood, sweat, and tears, to bootstrap, to be serious the whole time, because we're fighting for our lives to make the thing profitable, but that it's not profitable. Similarly, treat YouTube that same way, meaning this is not going to happen overnight. In fact, I'm going to commit the best, the maximum quality output I can, the best quality I can, attention to the best practices of showing up regularly, of letting people know I'm a man, a woman of my word. So I'm going to show up, and that show's always going to be there, just like your favorite TV show or Netflix, although now it's all like on demand. But back in the day when we grew up, it'd be like Sunday night, we'd watch our favorite show. You want to become predictable and known. And that's really how you build a strong brand. And it's so common, John, I know you know this, is people are like, why am I not building momentum in my brand? I'm like, well, you're inconsistent in your outputs.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And sometimes, let me say one other thing, is that it's not just consistency of the upload. Try to make it consistent in the energy, consistent in the value, consistent in the messaging, et cetera, because it's kind of all of those things that stack, and that consistency builds massive momentum. And that's what I would do. And then consistency, the final one probably, is consistency in, this is a bonus tip, number 6, is after you've started, because you can't do this until you've posted some videos, maybe even a month, 2, 3 months of videos, is bonus tip. What gets measured gets improved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Then you want to go back and audit what you're doing. You say, okay, now that I've got these videos out, what are my YouTube analytics showing me? What can I tweak? What should I stop doing? What should I do more of? And what do I need to start doing potentially on this channel? But that is all going to come later. And so then consistently learning and consistently evaluating your progress. If you do those 5 tips over an extended period of time, you're going to win.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's one of the big ones. I think consistency is one of the things that I always tell people is 5 years. Anything significant you want to do in life takes 5 years. You can almost like divide your life into 5-year increments, and then you've got to commit to it for 5 years if you really want to be successful. And I think that's why most people fail at anything in life, is they're not willing to put in that time. They do a few YouTube videos, they don't see a big influx of subscribers, they don't see a lot of views on their videos, and so they say, oh, I guess this doesn't work.
So common. And I like to encourage people to use your season in obscurity to prepare you for popularity. Mm-hmm. Your videos might not deserve views. Like, right. You got to be sober about them. Like, they just might suck. And we always think our own stuff's the best, but like my first videos weren't good. Like, yeah. I had to pay, nobody wakes up and expects to be a world-class athlete overnight. Right. But social media gives us the illusion that we see people who supposedly experience overnight success. And there's actually, I don't even think it exists. Because here's what happens. I think the people who do get overnight success, literally the viral sensations, where are they all today? They all disappear. Anyone who just goes viral, they are gone the next day if they did not have a foundation. Whereas the flip is true, that the people who build legacy and a sustainable brand, they've been in the trenches. No one's known what they're doing. They're like, yeah, you just met me on this video that blew up right now, but I've been like working my face off over the last, 5 years. And it's, hey, great to meet you. Thanks. Hit subscribe. And so there's those roots that grow down before the tree starts growing up and producing fruit.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. I remember when I first got on the local news, and I thought, okay, now I've made it right. And there was like, I got absolutely no result from that. Like, it was just a waste of time. Like, it's like that flash in the pan type of like 15 minutes of fame is literally 15 minutes of fame. That's it. And then, if you don't have anything that you've built on that, it doesn't matter. You can be on Oprah Winfrey's show, and millions of people can see you, but if you have no actual base of work, it doesn't matter.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, Sean. This is awesome. This is really, really good stuff that I think is going to help. I get a lot of people that are trying to start up their channels, and I think really it's hard to, sometimes I look and I try to give them advice, and I'm like, I'm giving them the kind of tips and stuff, but I think you've really summarized it here, because it's I know it's hard, like when people are starting out, and I see some people that have in my audience that have put out like 50 videos and they've got like 300 subscribers, and they're really disappointed. And so hopefully, they'll watch this video and they'll learn the tips from you, especially that one was a number 4 where with the keyword research. I think that's that's the thing that's going to help those people a lot, because they're being consistent and they're putting out videos, but they're just, they don't have they're just talking about what they want. They don't have an audience yet. So they need to actually have those videos that pull in people.
And I'm glad. I mean, one of the probably last things that I as another bonus mistake is you mentioned they're just talking about what they want. A lot of times we can be in a perspective where we feel entitled. And I don't mean that in like a harsh sounding way, but like we just kind of feel like we deserve to get views. But you do need to ask yourself basic business questions like, is there a market for this type of content? And there probably is, but you want to do that research. Like, how much interest is there in it? If someone's got an underwater basket weaving channel, they should not be confused as to why they're not going viral. Because actually, when you do this research, there's a lot of people into it, but to the tune of like 15,000 people a month. Whereas if you were thinking about hot markets, when they talk about it, especially in online marketing, it's always health or fitness, lose weight, gain muscle, diets. It's always money, save money, make more money. And you'd probably know the other one. It's always relationships, like sex, love, and relationships. Now, those are the big hot markets. There's a few others that are hot around it, but that all goes into the thing. It's like if we actually got to talk and ask Gary Vaynerchuk his point of view on, is it too late to start YouTube in 2019? He said, absolutely not. Of course, it's never too late to start, like anything. It might be more saturated, but is it too late to start a business up the street? Well, it's going to be competitive, but it's not, anyways. But his point was, and his big takeaway was that actually most content creators are selfish. And that might be the thing to think, is that it's like, we want people to maybe watch us, or we want to be like a YouTuber we've seen, or a vlogger we've seen, or even a celebrity entrepreneur we've seen. Whereas what really probably is the formula for success is understanding the human you want to reach, understanding what that human wants to watch, what they're interested in, what winning looks like for them, and then delivering that result. And while it's not easy, it is simple. Yeah. And that individual, if they then click on your video, here's the big mistake we'd make. If they click on your video and we add fluff, we waste their time, they actually don't get the result. You're building your reputation. You're building your brand. They go, that was confusing. It was hard to follow. And it doesn't matter how good the lighting was. It doesn't matter what camera you used. I like to say this. It's like, does it give them what they came there for? When I go on a date night with my wife tonight, if I go on that date night, and we go to the restaurant, I want the food to taste good. I want it to be warm. If it's the wrong dish, if it's cold, whatever, then I'm not happy. It's not what I came for. And I'm probably not going to come back. So yeah, simply just trying. Easier said than done. But if you can deliver that value, it builds a bond. When someone goes, wow, I was looking for information. This video was free. I had a problem and the person solved it. There's a major bond. You want to blow your business up. You want to do that. And it's results in advance. That person has gotten some results. They've seen you're good for it. And that is the absolute best way to position your future offers, services. Because in a way, what we're doing is like letting people test drive a car in a way, online to see if they want to buy it in terms to working with us in business.
I love it. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Sean. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you taking the time. And guys, make sure you check out Sean's stuff. Definitely get his book, YouTube Secrets. If you're starting out a YouTube channel, this is the book that I would recommend above all other books out there. And check out if you want to, get some tips on video equipment and the type of things for producing your content, Think Media, and then of course his Video Influencers channel. Those are really valuable resources that I've been using to learn and grow my YouTube channel. So
appreciate it so much, man. Appreciate you. Thanks so much for having me on.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sean. Take care.